Hello, I'm Jeff Siegel. Welcome to our Friday video analysis for the races at Santa Anita. We have a very good card today on New Year's Eve. We are going to pass the first race, though. No play in the first. It's a maiden claimer. 6-5 on the morning line for number 2, Long-Legged Lovely. I'm not real keen on her at that price. There's very little to beat. She probably should win, but again, not a great value situation, and so we are going to pass race number 1. Second race, 6.5 down the hill. This is a better race, and there are 3 main contenders as I see it. They are, in order, number 4, A Little Dumani, a very hard-knocking Peter Miller trained gelding, racing with blinkers off. Also, number 6, Sasu, very versatile here for Jean-Pierre Dupuis. He can sprint and he can sit on the lead or just off it, and he's going to be very tough off his best race. And then maybe the one that perhaps I put on top, Stone Side, number 9 on your program for Julio. He's been a little bit of a money burner during his career, but he drops into a winnable spot here. He continues to train well. He likes to be held up early, allowed to run late, and Stone Side under Corey Nakatani seems capable of making the last run. But it's a tough race, so I'm going 4, 6, and 9 in that order. Use all 3 with A Little Dumani, Sasu, and Stone Side. All 3 in an exacta or trifecta box, and definitely all 3 in any kind of rolling exotics you might be playing. Third race, this is a claiming event. There are 3 main contenders here as I see it. They are numbers 1, 4, and 8 on your program. Number 1 is Royal Import. He's coming off a pretty good maiden claiming when finally broke his maiden, but the fig was okay, and I think he can at least get a piece of it with continued improvement. Number 4, Don't Mess Around with Jim, is probably the logical horse here. He's first off to claim here for Mike Mitchell and dropping. This is a good maneuver for Mike. He generally will claim a horse and run him back wherever he thinks he's capable of winning, and in this non-winners of 2 restricted claimer, Don't Mess Around with Jim and Talamo look well spotted, and he could be on the lead here. And the other one is the Phoenix Invader, number 8, Candy for Passiana. Looked quite good, breaking his maiden in a straight maiden race in Phoenix, and the number was pretty strong. He's got good tactical speed, and he is an absolute fit at this restricted 12-5 non-winners of 2 level. So the number is there in an exacta or trifecta box, 1, 4, and 8. I might give Candy for Passiana a slight edge. He's 6-1 in the morning line, which I believe represents value, and if you can get close to that, I think Candy for Passiana might be worth a play. But use all 3, again, in all of your rolling exotics. Fourth race is the Blue Norther Stakes. It's a race on grass. These are 2-year-old fillies, and Tails in Excess is coming out of a series of good races. She was a very good second in the Enokia, third in the Moccasin last time out behind Turbulent Descent. That's a terrific filly, and she actually ran pretty good in those races. The question, though, is whether she'll be able to project that sprint form, 2 turns going a mile, and whether she will like the grass. Well, with In Excess on the bottom, she should like the turf. With Tail of the Cat on top, she should at least get a mile. She's got a good inside 2-pole post, and I think she just outclasses this field. I think she can be on the lead, probably will be on the lead, and I like number 2, Tails in Excess, as a rolling exotic single. Now, she's 8-5 on the morning line. It's not a real secret here, and I don't know whether she's going to go much lower than that, but Tails in Excess definitely looks like the right one, and we will use her as a single, a rolling exotic, that is a rolling daily double, pick 3, pick 4, pick 6 single in today's 4th race, the Blue Norther. That's number 2, Tails in Excess. Moving to the 5th race, claiming event here, 3-year-olds and up in for 40. Another rather deep and competitive race. We're going to try to get by with just 2 horses here. They are numbers 5 and 7 on your program. Number 5 is Italian Rule. 7 is Sea Rascal. Again, both in good form, both capable of winning a race like this. Italian Rules is 9-2 in the morning line. Very good form. Was beating the nose over at Hollywood in his last start. A repeat of that race puts him right there. And number 7, Sea Rascal, which actually would be my top selection. He's actually coming out of a tougher race, dropping a notch for Hollendorfer, switching to Bejarano, and his race before last earned a giant speed figure, and one that would win this race if he repeats it. So either one, 5 or 7, Italian Rules and Sea Rascal, use them both in your rolling exotics. Preference there to number 7, Sea Rascal. Good maiden race for 2-year-old fillies in the 6th race. There are lots of firsters in here that have apparently trained well enough to win first time out. We are going to use numbers 2, 6, and 7 on your program. Number 2 is actually my top selection. Her name is Hey Maria. Also, we're going to use number 6, the first time starter from the Mandela barn. Her name is Rumor. And then number 7, Blazing Along for Bob Baffert. Now, Hey Maria had a couple of runs at Del Mar as a young 2-year-old back in late August and early September. And in both races, she showed good speed before fading. So it's possible that maybe she wasn't mature enough. There may have been some issues there. But she's been freshened. She's coming now back for Carla Gaines. She's training very well. She is very quick. And I think she will really appreciate the switch to the dirt track. So Hey Maria at 6-1 in the morning line is going to be out there winging, and she might not never look back. So let's go with Hey Maria as our top selection. But number 6, Rumor, is trained well for Mandela, acts like a quality filly. And number 7, Blazing Along, although she's been a little bit of a disappointment, continues to work well for Baffert. She's had the 4 starts now, and so she's got a little bit of experience. I don't think she can beat a good filly, but I think if there's not one in here, then Blazing Along could win, so we'll use her as well. 2, 6, and 7 in that order, preference to number 2, Hey Maria. In the 7th race, this is a 6-furlong optional allowance claiming race for fillies and mares, and this is another race. It's really tough, and if you're going to spread a race, this might be the one to spread. The numbers we're going to use are 3, 5, and 8. Number 3 is Warren's Blossom. Number 5, Hot Affair. Number 8, Separate Force. And if you can go deeper than that, be my guest, because there are a number of other horses here that really have a right to win. But number 3, Warren's Blossom, is a lightly raced and improving filly. She just won a real nice state bred race. She's back at the same allowance level, only now tackling open company. But her numbers are rising with every race, and if she makes another forward move, she's right there. Number 3, Warren's Blossom. Number 5, Hot Affair, beaten 3/4 of a length in a similar start last time out, and she's only had 4 starts. She too has further improvement in her. And number 8, Separate Force, back on the main track, back on dirt. Her one dirt race was at Santa Rosa, and she won that race by 11. So after a couple of runs on grass, she might be better on dirt. Gets that chance to prove it here for Mandela. So definitely use number 8, Separate Force. 3, 5, and 8, the numbers in today's 7th race at Santa Anita. 8th race is the Eddie Logan, and we have a very powerful entry here, the 1 and 1A, the Richard Mandela train, number 1, Roby the Cat, and the number 1A, 10 Devils, both very impressive turf sprint winners over at Hollywood Park. Tough to separate them, but you don't have to because you get them as an entry. Roby the Cat and 10 Devils, that's the 1 and 1A. The entry, definitely my top selection here, 8-5 on the morning line. Also throw in number 3, Moment of Weakness, the Irish bred who was a closing second in the Generous last time out. That was a good race. And number 5, Oakcrest Drive, a gelding by Arch. 2 good sprint races, stretching out, also trying grass and training very well for James Cassidy. Oakcrest Drive could be a lot better than shown, and he does have some good form sprinting, and I'll give him a chance to project that form very well to turning on turf. So the numbers here are 1, that's the 1 entry. Also number 3, Moment of Weakness, and number 5, Oakcrest Drive. Use all 3 in an exacta or trifecta box, and use all 3 in all of your rolling exotics. Maiden claimers, 2-year-old fillies go in the 9th and final. I'm going to go 2 deep here, but this is another race. If you want to spread, be my guest. I don't really trust the 2 that I'm using, but I don't want to throw in horses just for the sake of doing that. There's a mess of horses in here that I just don't think can run. So maybe number 2, Tap Tap, I've Gone, and number 13, Benicia Beauty will stand out strictly by default. Number 2, Tap Tap, I'm Gone, is coming out of a straight maiden race, dropping in for the 40. This is a very weak race to the level. She ran well enough 2 runs back to give her a good look with these, and P-Val stays aboard. Number 2, Tap Tap, I'm Gone. And number 13, Benicia Beauty, pretty decent 4th in her only start. And she makes a major jockey switch from Joy Scott to Rafael Bejarano. So if she moves forward at all, she's probably the one to beat. That's number 13, Benicia Beauty. So 2 and 13 to wrap it up in the 9th and final. That wraps it up for today. Best of luck at Santa Anita. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.